Hey guys, welcome back to Red Devil TV. 4-0 win for Manchester United. I was very impressed with the way we played today, especially in the first half. I mean, the second half was a bit slower. We brought on, all the younger players, but I was still incredibly impressed with some of the younger players. Savage, Iqbal, Palestri, a lot of these players done very well, and I'm glad to see Bailly get the game time he deserves, and I was very impressed with him, and this is why he deserves more game time. And I think Ten Hag would have been looking at that and saying he needs more game time. I would love to see him with Varane in the centre-back position, but we'll have to see what happens in the season. I mean, I was very impressed with this game. Let's just touch upon it, because a lot of people are nervous about Ronaldo coming back, because if he does stay, I've been seeing tweets everywhere that they're nervous that he's going to interrupt that fluidity in the front three. And for me, we've seen, I'll talk about that in a minute, but we've seen a bunch of combinations last season where it was poor, and people will say, yeah, but it was under Ranić, under Rolly, they didn't want to play, but that's a red flag, isn't it? That shows that a lot of these players can just decide when they turn up, and that's not the players we need. Ronaldo was turning up almost every single game. Of course, there were games where, he was frustrated and all that, but, we need to play as a team, and that's what I saw today. I saw a lot of fluidity in the front three. I was very happy that a lot of them were changing positions. Sometimes Martial would go on the left, Rashford was playing in the centre-forward role a lot of the time. Then you saw Sancho go onto the left, Martial onto the right, and they kept Liverpool guessing. Their defence was struggling, and look, at times when we were pressing a lot today, and I was very happy to see it, but at times I felt sorry for our defence, because look how many times last season, we've seen in the last couple of seasons, McFred were not putting themselves in positions to get the ball from our centre-backs. McTominay was hiding, and we had to go wide into our full-backs, or we had to play a long ball. And then, look, we need that extra option in midfield. We need that extra option. This is why Jong is a player that Ten Hag wants, because he's gonna get into that position to get the ball from the centre-backs. He's gonna drive forward and get the ball into the attacking players. Yes, Fred was getting himself into that position, but Fred, for me, is a player at times you can't trust when getting the ball from the centre-backs. He can be a bit sloppy in possession, and look, at times today he was, but I feel like Fred was one of our better players. McTominay, at times I was nervous, but McTominay was a lot more brave with his passing. I was glad to see that when he was on the ball, and sometimes he was taking a bit too much time on the ball, but he was allowing himself to put in those long-range passes, which, look, we've seen it last season, but he was very inconsistent with it. He's not brave enough to put those passes forward, but he was today, and I was, even though I'm not a big fan of McTominay and Fred in midfield, I did see some more risk from both midfielders, but I do want to see themselves put themselves in position to get the ball from our defence, because there's more pressure on our defence. Look, if it was Liverpool's first team, when we were pressing him in the field, and we saw it in the first half anyway with their reserve team, they were able to get out positions where they were being pressed, and then they started to attack our defence. If there was their first team, they would have avoided being pressed so much and would have been able to escape our press. We saw it last season. We were trying to press in midfield. We got battered 5-0. So yeah, I mean, the reserve team couldn't hack it. But if it was their first team, they would have been able to avoid our press and would have been able to get out of tough positions. But anyway, in the second half, when Savage came on, Iqbal, Palestri, Bailly, I was very impressed. Van der Beek, I thought, was a bit quiet in the second half. I did think the game broke up a bit in the second half. There was less fluidity in midfield. But then after the 60th minute, I did see some of the younger players start to gather composure. And we started to hit on the counter because Liverpool had more possession in the second half. They got a bit more better opportunities than us. But I was very impressed with Savage and his capability of keeping the ball, dribbling it forward and getting it to our attacking players. The composure was fantastic from him. I thought Palestri showed why he deserves an opportunity in this team. His dribbling, his pace. And you know what? We shouldn't praise work rate, but we saw that today under Ten Hag. And that's not just because, it's Ten Hag. We saw it because, yeah, it is Ten Hag. He does want to play that way, but we saw that some of these players want to, give a good impression. And at the end of the day, we're going to be playing like this for most of the season, because Ten Hag is not going to be happy if we are just holding back and playing counter-attacking football. The whole of the first half, I think it was about 50-50 possession. So even though we were 3-0 up, it was still 50-50 possession. So the fact that we scored, it made it seem like we actually had more possession than we did. I actually thought at the end of the first half we had more possession, but we didn't. It was 50-50. We were more clinical. Liverpool had more shots, but we were clinical. And look, yeah, 2 of the goals were mistakes, but we took them. The third goal was fantastic. Fred, I mean, that chip was mad. But I really enjoyed Sancho scoring, because Sancho in the first half was phenomenal. The skill, the technique on the ball, his ability to dribble and go past players. We played with freedom. And I saw the Sancho I want to see this upcoming season. So I was very happy to see Martial do so well as well. I mean, I think this front three is a really good front three. I think Rashford was a bit quiet, but he was struggling to. There was an opportunity where Sancho put a pass, I think it was on the counter, and Rashford took a shot, and it was a poor shot, and it deflected off Liverpool's defence. But Rashford's going to progress. He's not really the player. I think today's game it showed. Rashford is not the best player when it comes to possession-based football. Yes, it was 50-50% possession, but I did see moments in the game where we really had great spells of possession and we put in some great passes. Of course, we had a stronger team in the first half, so the fact that we were 50-50 possession is actually not that great when you think about it, because we had a stronger team, and yeah, but either way, we were still winning 3-0 in the first half, so I was very impressed. And look, that last goal was phenomenal. It showed me why Bayern needs to play. It showed me exactly why Bayern needs to be. Look how many times in the second half where we're put in difficult positions, where Liverpool are on the attack. It's that final pass. That final pass was almost there, but Bailly had enough pace to recover and not allow Liverpool to get themselves in that position to score. Darwin Núñez was non-existent. He missed an open goal, and Bailly was phenomenal in the second half. I would say he was actually one of our better players in top three, in my opinion. In terms of our fullbacks, Telles at centre-back was terrible. I've got to be honest. Telles for me is... The things with Telles, he's got such good qualities, but he's also got such bad qualities. His passing was a bit shocking in the centre-back position. I thought Wan-Bissaka was very average when he came on. I thought Dalot done well from the 20th minute. I thought before that, not from the 15th minute, because I remember not counting the minutes, but I remember looking at the time and I thought Dalot was a bit... Diaz had him a bit shook in the first 15 minutes, but then after that he got better as the game went on. And Dalot, for me, he put in some great passes where that final pass was great, but I think it might have been Sancho who got on it, or Martial, and it just wasn't enough. The defence managed to get rid of it. So I think Dalot, at the end of it, had a good game in the first half. And I think Dalot, he's still young. I still think we need a starting right back, in my opinion, because I don't think he's going to be able to be our starting right back. I was very impressed with Malacia. The fact that he's 5'7", and he's got that physicality and composure on the ball. His dribbling is very good, very skillful. I was very impressed. He's going to give Luke Shaw a hell of a competition for that left-back position. And I loved seeing Malacia on the ball. Different players I want to talk about. Look, I think Savage, Iqbal, Pellistri, these are players I want to see, getting chances in this upcoming season. Van der Beek didn't really do much in the second half. I did think the game slowed down a bit, of course, because we had a weakened team. You can see the chemistry wasn't really there. But we still managed to score and we still managed to get it done. Who else? Varane was great. Lindelof was good in the first half. And I'm excited to see what happens. I thought Bruno was he started off well, put some great passes into some of our attacking players. But I thought Bruno was a bit inconsistent in the first half. He wasn't really in the game. At times he was still doing some of those crazy passes that we see him do, where it's lack of discipline and lack of patience on the ball, where... Listen, just go for that easy pass. Don't go for that crazy pass that's not there, It's panic and impatience on the ball. That's what I noticed from Bruno. It was a bit less today, but I do want to see even less in the upcoming season. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, it was an impressive game. I'm excited to see what happens because, look, I want De Jong to come. I would like Ruben Neves to come as well, because we can't be relying on these players in midfield to be doing the job. Savage done well. We're still young, of course. McFred, we already know what they're about. I think Fred is going to be a much better player under Ten Hag than McTominay is. If we had Fred and De Jong in midfield, it would be an interesting partnership. I would still like to see us get another midfielder, but we have to see what happens. And look, apparently this De Jong deal is done for 85 million. Romano has come out saying that this deal is done for 85 million. But it's about convincing De Jong. So it's the same old story. And apparently Ronaldo doesn't want to leave. Apparently Ten Hag said yesterday in the press conference that he's had a conversation with Ronaldo. He doesn't want to leave and he's part of the plan. So let's see what happens, guys. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.